So according to reports, the Department of State Services, DSS, said that they are probing allegations of unprofessional conduct by their operatives at the Murtala Muhammed International Airport in Lagos. The probe followed an allegation by an Abuja-based human rights lawyer, Pelumi Olajengbesi, that operatives of that agency particularly begged passengers for money at the airport. Now, we're referencing this story because we know of stories of various extortions by airport officials, either customs, police officers, baggage carriers, different people that extort money in different ways. We'd like Nigerians to share their experiences with us this morning. You can call us on 08127053687, 09139076948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweets. I never knew DSS officials at airports. I mean, I'm hearing it for the first time. I don't know how accurate that is, but Pelumi is saying that they did extort him as a DSS officer. However, many have also said various extortions have happened in various groups. I know in my own experience, when I came back, first of all, they just carried my bag and told me they had to check my bag. And I didn't say anything. I just kept quiet. As they're trying to open the zip and everything, one of the other attendants recognized me and told the person to stop unzipping. I said, am I the person? Are you Mariah? I said, yes. Oh, please let me greet Tokwe, greet Manima, greet Baraja. They zip me back. I said, bye-bye. But imagine if I wasn't Mariah. Of course, they'll open up, and I might have to pay something to allow them to allow me go. So we see it all the time. They might not come outrightly to ask, but have you experienced this whenever you traveled?
I had that same experience where someone wanted to check my bag. Someone recognized me and said they should not check it. The senior official came back and said, because she's on TV doesn't mean you should not check it. So they checked. And I had to say that. And they opened, and I said, well, it's vacation. It's my children's clothes. And I opened, and they saw that it was children's clothes. Then they checked another bag. They saw jeans. It's okay, she can go. So it was...
On your way back?
On my way back.
Okay.
So it was a case of someone recognized and someone wanted to say, let her go. And the boss said, no, just because she's on there doesn't mean that you should let her go.
Yeah.
That's a bit different from, but I've traveled this several times, and they usually would say, greet me and go. They don't even open or carry the bag. Extortion. Extortion. When I read it, I said, it's not really extortion, but they'll just greet you in the way Nigerians greet. And you will know that if you want peace, you will settle and move on. And when you don't settle, then they begin to probe and search for something.
I keep asking because I've never really confronted any issues. It's just when you enter, they want to put and they want to check your bag to make sure you didn't bring in any contraband.
Oh,
but at what point do they extort?
Several.
Sometimes when they're going through your bag and flipping through your bag.
I try to board.
Then there's a conversation. Especially when you come in. When you come in, they're going through your bag and everything. It's usually a conversation. So you're right about the fact that they say, welcome. You know, they'll greet you, and you know they'll greet you, and they'll greet you. There's a way they'll say this good as or welcome, anything for us. But then we've also heard of conversation, especially in the COVID period, where people needed to have their cards, and if you could not get it, they would offer you a quick fix, and then you pay. So there are just different methods. And because we're Nigerians, we know that it's extortion. Someone may come in and think, oh, these Nigerians are just very hospitable. They will greet you to death. But, you know, we understand what it means. So extortion happens, and I feel that anyone in Nigeria who says it does not happen or they've never encountered it or heard of someone who's encountered it is being funny.
But I think there's a lot of sanitization going on. Because I remember a few years back when you travel and the sort of things you see in the airport, there's always this rush. But now, I think I came back, I traveled after you came back, and we're sort of noticing some form of calmness from the immigration officers. They were just, so I also noticed that they were not opening bags. They were using the scans. Before, if you're traveling, they'll open your bag. Do you have oil? Do you have cream? Because they want to take it out. You're not supposed to go in with any liquid.
When you're going in.
But now, you go through the scan, and they were not opening boxes. So my boxes were not opened. I traveled on my way back. It was just a regular greeting, and most of them had their stern faces, and I was like looking at my husband, something is happening in this place. Nigeria is really changing. My bags were not opened at all. It was scanned properly, and then I carried my bags and I left. So they would just ask you questions. We're family, so they will be a bit more friendly. How are you doing? Where did you go to? Did you enjoy the place? And all of that. And a few people recognized me. So
let's talk about extortion there generally there, because as Mariam said, because we're Nigerians, because even when you wake up in the morning, from the gatesman to the man on the street, to the person in your office, to the driver, to even the place you're going to visit, to the restaurant you just enter. Like, in a day, you can have to budget money every day. So, aside from the airways, which is what Pelumi is saying, that the DSS is a bit weightier.
Let me still...
That this regular day that we go to.
Let me still talk about the airport thing, because when Mariam mentioned it, I'd forgotten. So, my trip just after COVID, I paid for my COVID test, and I showed them that I paid for the COVID test. But when I came, they said they did not see my name on the platform, and they kept checking, and I like they delayed me. I don't like settling. I don't even mind delay, but I don't bribe.
Yeah.
So I sat there and I said, I paid for this thing. Check it. This is my receipt. They checked the platform. They said, see, this is where your name would have been. One man passed. They said, see his name. Another person said, see his own name. Your own name is not there. So I said, so what do you want me to do? Then came the
bill.
Yes. So I was supposed to transfer to somebody's account. And then my internet wasn't going through. So somebody actually hotspots for me so that I can have access to my account to transfer. And I settled so that I can pass through. So at the end of the day, the real problem with extortion is that criminality can escape because somebody is greedy. So somebody can smuggle things that shouldn't be in Nigeria into Nigeria because they tipped quickly and they will move through.
So that's the fear.
So somebody that is supposed to do COVID test didn't do it, but came in and paid, and then they go in.
Exactly.
So
that's the real
somebody can have temperature and come in, and just as it comes, my body just warm, small, take, and it goes through. So the real big deal with extortion is that it would lead to its corruption that would open the way for criminality to
also
escape.
Internationally, you see, because I keep battling with this. Human beings are almost the same across the world, and that's why in the West, they depend on the machines.
Yes.
Because if as a human being, even if you are not Nigerian, you will still want, because it's your sister, it's your cousin that's coming, you can pass through. But when the machine detects you, the machines are working, and there's a process. Without this, because I remember when I was coming back to Nigeria, oh yeah, excuse that.
Continue.
So when I was coming back, there was something I was supposed to fill online that, as a Nigerian, myself and my sister were coming back to Nigeria. So we're coming differently, though. She told me, Mara, you have to fill this in online. No. I said, oh, no. I thought, Nigeria. So don't worry. So when I got there to the airport, the lady in Qatar said, Madam, you have to fill this form. I said, I was still acting as if she helped me out. But when I was about to board, they asked me for that form. And I had to go and sit down like 45 minutes. Don't feel it. Something that my sister had been telling me in the house. Feel it before you enter. I kept thinking, on Nigeria, we're not used to system. We're not used to process. Just want to enter the airport and say, okay, can you help me fill it out? It's not fast. Life is a process. My sister that came, her flight was after my own. She entered smoothly, sat down. Me, I was still there. 45 minutes trying to fill the form. Whoa. So that's this Nigerian mentality that we must begin to flush out of our system.
And we need help to be able to do that. So when I travel, you stay at the immigration for a while. You queue from one portal to the next, one point to the next. But here, everybody's in a hurry. These people are not loading. They are wasting time. I've been here for... So this time we're traveling. Before I knew, my husband was like, why is the queue not moving? I said, calm down. No. We used to stay in another airport. It's okay, that's true. I had to remind him.
Yes.
I said, because when you go to another place, you trust their system is working. You trust there's no network failure. You know, but here, we understand the challenges that we have as a country. Can we give them some time? Sometimes they say network failure, and that delays the process, but can you just stand? And we that are sort of enlightened, we understand, we travel. Let's help other people to understand that it's a process. All of us will go. As long as they're not bringing people from the back to stay in front, everybody will go. It happens
even when there's traffic. Same thing. We can't wait because we don't trust.
We don't trust the system.
We don't trust that there's a last one official there going to bypassing us. We want to come in and let me go on a break. When we come back, we have to open our phone lines because we know Nigerians have experienced this. We'd like to hear your own stories. So we've been discussing the fact that there was a report of an extortion by a DSS officer by one of the human rights lawyers, Pelumi, activist actually, Pelumi, who was saying that, and DSS has said they would investigate this particular case. But we're now extending that conversation to other experiences at the airport and also the daily subtle requests of tips by just regular Nigerians. I mean, it's become a Nigerian tradition. I was saying one of the reasons why we raise this conversation is because we must show people options, new ways of doing things, new way of thinking. But one will say that, listen, look around you. There's poverty around.
I know.
Why are we even questioning, or why are we even surprised that people will ask for tips every single day? I have no issues giving tips, but where I have a problem is when it becomes repetitive.
Yeah.
So you come yesterday, I give you something, and then you see me 2 days, you crown about 4 or 5 days, you come again.
back again.
So do you assume you're the only person coming back? There are lots of you coming back. So now I have to have a budget. I'm constantly servicing these same faces every single day. And now, should I look at that as a burden, or I should look at that as part of my own responsibility? That's where Nigerian, that's really conversation. You see them at the airport, you see them at the bus, you see them at restaurants, you see them at parties, everywhere. So how should we respond to this?
So there will always be beggars everywhere, okay? The only thing we are going to be working on as a country is to give a facelift to our officers so that they maintain their dignity by ensuring that we take care of their welfare, pay them well, so they have no excuse. I was really impressed with how they were seriously doing their job the last time I was coming back. They were seriously doing their job.
At the airport, right?
Yes. Little or no smiles. Hello, hi, okay, let me see this, let me see. We just were moving like that. I was really impressed. And that's exactly what I see in other countries. Nobody's asking you, if they want to do a little chit chat, where are you coming from, where are you going to, you know, that's all.
Not to extort.
Yeah, so it gives that sense of, this is a country, because they are going to be meeting a lot of people from different countries coming in, and what image are they portraying to, you know, foreigners who are coming into the country. So let's try as much as possible to take care of them so that they can do their job effectively. But, okay, you have
to take this call. I've been holding. John, are you there from Switzerland?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, you're live.
In your view. Good morning. So, this issue of especially in Lagos,
Can't hear him.
Abuja is actually. Can you hear me?
It's really, the volume is really low. Maybe somebody can increase the volume.
Yeah, the immigration in Abuja is actually nice, but the one in Lagos is actually very, very terrible. I remember when I was traveling, I was having a lot of drinks, like Ribena carton in my hand luggage. So because I gave them some tips, they didn't even bother to even check it to know that there is liquid in there. Maybe they kept it, but they are supposed to detect there is a liquid in the hand luggage, and it's not allowed, to carry liquid in the hand luggage. So they allowed me. So when I got to Germany, they have to scan it because I have to change flight. They have to scan it, and they just hold my bag, and I was like, why? And they said there is a liquid. In fact, it was a box of Ribena drink. And I was so surprised it passed through. You know, and actually, I mistakenly put it there. I was supposed to put it in the big luggage. But because...
Okay, before he went off, I think he was just trying to say he had a box of Ribena, but because he had given someone a tip, they didn't really check him. But when he had gone further, of course, the scan showed you have liquid in your box. Yeah. And so, you know, you started that conversation, which is important, that a lot of times when we do these things, we are constantly asking for money or begging for money, it just makes me scared, you know, that with this, in this day and age of terrorism and all sorts of horrible things happening, all you have to do in Nigeria is pay someone a tip or just dash someone money and they can get away with anything, and then you have lives on the plane. I mean, are you not afraid of what the consequences or the impact of your negligence will cause over how much money, you know? So it's important. It's not just at the airport, as you said, even sometimes police officers on the road, our traffic, you know, different sorts. Yeah. You just want to make sure that those people who are supposed to do their job are doing it well. Yeah. You just want to make sure that they are not carried away by how much they're giving and they let an armed robber pass, and then that person goes up and cause havoc to someone down the line because somebody collected 50 naira, 100 naira, you know. It's important that Nigerians, I mean, our security operatives understand this. Let's carry it like it's your responsibility. More than a responsibility. Like it's a mandate. Lives depend on it, you know. It's not just about money, lives depend on it.
I think that's what Bisi was echoing when she was saying that you've seen some improvement. Yeah. So obviously, hopefully the operatives they're working on it. I mean, we're seeing the new modernization of the airport. Yeah. Hopefully they're doing that with training and adequate training to ensure that they have using international best practice. Let me come back to you, Tokwe. I have a call holding.
Okay.
Good morning, are you there? I think I have a caller.
Good morning.
Good morning, Anne. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, yes. I just want to appreciate you women. What you are doing is fantastic.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you,
I
sir.
want to contribute to what you are saying this morning. When you travel out and you are coming back, or when you are going out, those that are working there, I don't blame them. But these are areas where, if God helping us, we have a new Nigeria. These are things, basic things that should be taught in the school. All over, you teach the children how to have self-esteem. When you have self-esteem, you hardly beg for anything.
Yeah.
You'll be ashamed to beg, to see yourself as inferior. But if you see our nation, even our president, all those in all those in authority of power, they say, they should give us loans, and we are going to borrow. It gives me some a bad taste for us to be begging for money, going around the world was begging for money. It's lack of integrity.
Right.
And this is what we should put in our syllabus if we have new Nigeria. We women should rise up and say, put it in the syllabus. Children should be taught to have self-esteem. When you have self-esteem, you hardly go begging.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Anne.
you.
Yes, you're going to say something.
She went in the line I wanted to go, which is that you must have self-respect, you must have self-esteem, and you must have shame. It is shameful to have to beg. And I know some people that's like it's their last resort. They really don't want to. It's the only thing they could do. But I have had financial challenges even as a TV person where we were checking every account and there was really nothing. And I had to just sit down and start thinking, how can I raise funds? I didn't think to beg. I did not call Muraya, please, I need money. But I really needed money. I've had to, as a TV person, my kids couldn't resume school the first week. I didn't start calling people and saying, let me beg you for money. I'm saying that we need to have that self-respect, that dignity to say, I am cash-trapped. But poverty is not a life sentence or that's being broke part-time. It would happen. But what we've done is we've created a culture that sees anybody that looks good as advantaged, and they must be the one to fund your disadvantage.
Your helper.
You walk into a restaurant, you are a big girl, you must fund what I see as my disadvantage. I think it's something we need to change. It happens with a lot of our politicians spend money that can help the entire community, sorting out a few people, because all of us will see them and be harassing them until they drop something. And if they don't, we will see them as being stingy. When in actual fact, that fund could have provided borehole, built a toilet in the schools. We need to change this extortion culture that we have and start asking that there's proper systems in place. Let's start promoting true generosity, not the one that I'm reluctant to give you the money, but I'm truly grateful for your service. I tip you.
Let me take this call. Good morning, are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Please, let's be fair to these people. They're nice people, they are hardworking people. They never force anybody to give them money. Anytime I'm arriving in Nigeria, they welcome everybody. Anytime I'm leaving, they say, okay, you are going. There's nothing wrong with saying, are you taking the naira away? And I will give them voluntarily. There's nothing wrong with that now. So let's commend them. They are doing a good job.
Yeah.
So they never force, I've never seen them once forcing anybody to give money or whatever. But they have, if I'm leaving, am I going? Sometimes I will forget I have naira in my pocket, in my purse.
That's okay.
Thank you, Ade. I think you're right, because the truth is, as we said, I think we have said it here also, they don't actually ask you for money. But I guess we interpret the excessive greeting sometimes as drop something. But some people overlook it.
Because
and you don't have to, and you just move on. You don't have to, and they don't force it out of you.
Yeah, so I think we ourselves, since we're trying to change the narrative, we have a responsibility not to give. And what I do is I try as much as possible not to break the law so that you cannot hold me to give you anything. So once I know that I'm not supposed to pack so and so, I will not pack it. If you search my bag, I'm not supposed to have so and so, I will not have it. So that if I want to give, it's because I just like your face and I feel well done, man. And which is okay. Nigerians we are givers. If you want to give, really give from your heart. Not that somebody's asking you to give. Not that you have broken the law and you want to give to get out of it. Yeah. So we must take responsibility in ensuring that we are always on the right. If the laws are broken once in a while, it should not be a pattern that every time they say, don't bring this to the airport, that's all you have in your bag, and then you pay your way out of it.
I have to wrap up on this, but I think in a nutshell, you want to say something final?
I wanted to ask a question. In traffic, there are two categories of people that ask for money. Those regular beggars, and then the boys that try to do something, wipe your windshield. Who do you give money to?
The ones that try to wipe. Because I feel they are working. But wait, there was one that wiped. And I just watched the car. The car was in all this, what they call, is that Marjorie? Just wiped. And I said, no. She looked at me. I said, come back and clean it. She eyed me and walked away. So the one behind her, the younger girl behind her, saw it and said, sorry, ma, and cleaned it. I wound down my this thing and I handed 1,000
Okay, so the reason why I
out.
asked, I said sometimes we need to encourage a culture of begging.
Yeah, we do.
We're young, because there was a time we talked to a little boy and he says that, I don't want to stand and beg. That's why I'm doing this at least, so that you're not saying I'm just begging. And I don't want to steal. But really, sometimes we would see those ones trying to wipe and send them off, and then the ones sitting down just begging. Able-bodied, looking fresh, robust chicks, and we give them money.
Never.
So I'm just saying,
So
sometimes
I think
we need
also,
to.
I mean, in different parts of the world, people beg, there are beggars everywhere, and I think also, just like you said, we encourage that culture of begging. And I also don't want us to discard it either, because I says we're people, we give. That part of the communal living is sharing. You know, we do a lot of sharing in our communities, but I think what we don't want is the situation whereby people begin to take advantage. Security officials that have a job to do overlook the work and then get paid for something that shouldn't be. So I guess what we're saying is, in this situation, hopefully the DSS is able to investigate and find out exactly which one of the operatives took money we they're not supposed to take. But we're also saying as a people that we have seen improvement in the airport, and we hope that those people there continue to do that. However, for those who are still extorting, they must desist from it, because the truth is that you shouldn't extort. Everybody should have that dignity in who they are and not beg. And we're also asking that the government should pay properly these people so they don't have to beg. We have to wrap up.
Okay. Can we also not plan our lives based on other people's resources? That's where this starts from. So you know they are earning so and so. Can you plan within that means? And not thinking that I'm going to pay so and so with the tips I'm going to get from people, and then when they don't give you the tip, you are forcing them to give it to you. Can we?
When I was working
it's a mindset problem.
When I was working in a restaurant back many years ago, I used to budget my tips because I used to have an idea how much tip I'll have. So I know that at the end of the month, I'll get...
But that's a tip. That's different.
But also in America, it's like you have to pay tip.
Yes.
Tip, yeah, I have an idea. So I have an idea how much my
tip is not... They don't
official like that.
calculate it.
Yeah, but I can project that based on the fact that I'm a security guard. Every month I get 10,000 extra tip, and I can now pay that 10,000. I will get it.
No, it's a free
official
gift.
earnings.
It may come or not.
That tip in America is official.
That one is
earnings.
official. The other one is not official. One is
The other
documented. The
one,
other one
it
is
may
documented.
come,
But it's
it may
same
not
tip.
come. So after planning it and it doesn't come, what happens? You carry gun. Plan with the one that is regular.
All right.
That's all.
Well, from the previous conversation, please let's take a few tweets and then we'll take
So
off.
Rolake says, it's not a Nigerian thing, but because we never honor dignity of labor, most people who had integrity are pained because those with dishonesty are getting the necessary things of life. In Nigeria, men evil deeds are written on brass, but the good ones are written on water. And this person, Abdulaziz Sani, says, you guys are doing a great job, I must say, regarding the begging issue. My sister, there's no amount of money government pay as salary to workers that would stop some low-esteem people from begging. The way I view it, it appears the character of begging is running in some people's blood. And then Emmanuel here says, as a frequent traveler, my experiences are that the immigration personnel manning the airport exit and entry points are just seeking an excuse to extort. You pass through with prohibited items if you settle, and they actively hound out inexperienced travelers.
Okay, I don't want to end with that because, as I said, many of us have experienced changes. So yes, that was the narrative we all knew many years. I would like to believe, and I'd like to stay on the part of caution, not to assume that it's also ongoing. She traveled recently and she has observed some changes. So we'll continue to have this kind of conversations and get Nigerians to call in who have recently traveled to tell us exactly how it is at the airport. So let us not just totally condemn. Let's believe that indeed that there are changes, and the security operatives and the borders, those manning our borders, are more they're more professional in executing their jobs.